योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Hello friends, welcome to the session on contemporary issues, divisional performance measurement in responsibility accounting, balanced scorecard. I am Dr. Manisha Bhavsar, Associate Professor in Accountancy at HL College of Commerce, Ahmedabad. The old saying, what gets measured gets done, indicates that the ways in which organizations and individuals measure performance send signals to all employees and stakeholders about what the organization considers as its priorities. If organizations choose performance measures without careful consideration, then non-congruent behavior can occur. Employees should also have a clear understanding of what is considered appropriate and inappropriate behavior. Hence, organizations design performance measurement systems that encourage the desired behavior. They may use multiple performance measures that reflect the complexities of the work environment and the variety of contributions that employees make. Thereby, employees also recognize the various dimensions of their work and will not try to maximize their performance on a single target at the expense of other aspects of their job. In the previous module of divisional performance measurement, we studied financial techniques like variance analysis, profit, return on investment, residual income, etc. In this module, we will discuss non-financial performance measures. We will understand the balanced scorecard technique, which measures both financial and non-financial performance of the division. Friends, after studying this session, you will be able to understand non-financial performance measures, concept of balanced scorecard, reasons for development of balanced scorecard, 4 concepts supporting balanced scorecard, 4 perspectives of the balanced scorecard, features of a well-designed balanced scorecard, developing and implementing the balanced scorecard, advantages of the balanced scorecard, limitations of the balanced scorecard. Let us first of all understand non-financial performance measures. Sometimes short-term improvements in cost control may result in better financial performance by way of reducing costs and improving productivity, but may exert negative effects on non-financial managerial performance in the form of adverse motivational changes, increased labor turnover and reduced product quality. However, it is difficult to measure the non-financial aspects. Performance reports based only on financial aspects provide only a limited view of the efficiency and effectiveness of actual performance. Therefore, such reports should be broadened to incorporate variables other than financial measures such as cost and revenue. CIMA official terminology has defined non-financial performance measures as measures of performance based on non-financial information which may originate in and be used by operating departments to monitor and control their activities without any accounting input. Non-financial performance measures may give a more timely indication of the levels of performance achieved than do financial ratios and may be less susceptible to distortion by factors such as uncontrollable variations in the effect of market forces on operations. In recent years, there has been a shift from treating financial figures as a foundation for performance measurement. A growing emphasis is being laid on the non-financial performance measures which provide information on variables required to compete in today's environment. Some examples of non-financial performance measures are number of complaints, proportion of repeat bookings, customer waiting time, on-time deliveries for assessing service quality, setup times, number of suppliers, output per employee, schedule adherence, manufacturing lead times, etc. for assessing production performance. Trend in market share, sales volume growth, client contact hours per salesperson, number of customers, etc. for marketing effectiveness. Number of complaints received, staff turnover, training time, etc. to assess personnel. Though traditionally the focus has been on quantitative financial measures like cost, revenue and profit, modern managements use multiple measures of performance and are likely to use quantitative non-financial as well as qualitative measures for divisional performance evaluation. Quantitative non-financial measures include variables such as yield, cycle time, schedule adherence, number of defectives, market share, customer retention, etc. Qualitative variables such as image of a product or service, reputation of a company, customer satisfaction, being more subjective, are being assessed using psychometric methods developed in the behavioral sciences. Friends, let us now understand the concept of balanced scorecard. The balanced scorecard provides a system for measuring and managing all aspects of a company's performance. The scorecard balances traditional financial measures of success such as profits and return on capital with non-financial measures of the drivers of future financial performance. The concept was first developed in 1992 by Professor Robert Kaplan of the Harvard Business School and David Norton. CIMA official terminology has defined the balanced scorecard approach as an approach to the provision of information to management to assist strategic policy formulation and achievement. It emphasizes the need to provide the user with a set of information which addresses all relevant areas of performance in an objective and unbiased fashion. The information provided may include both financial and non-financial elements and cover areas such as profitability, customer satisfaction, internal efficiency and innovation. In fact, the balanced scorecard is a performance management and strategy development methodology that helps to translate an organization's mission statement and overall business strategy into specific goals and monitors the organization's performance in terms of these goals. While organizations have been measuring their own performance in numerous ways, the balanced scorecard integrates the measures used across organizations and helps organizations grapple with their intangible or intellectual assets. The focus on intangible assets is a significant advance even for companies known for having sound performance measurement systems. The linking of financial and non-financial measures of performance and identification of key performance measures helps to devise the balanced scorecard. The aim of the balanced scorecard is to provide a comprehensive framework for translating a company's strategic objectives into a coherent set of performance measures. The balanced scorecard is a performance measurement system that focuses employees' behavior on actions that directly or indirectly relate to achieving business unit strategic objectives. The balanced scorecard balances the use of financial and non-financial performance measures to evaluate short-run and long-run performance in a single report. The balanced scorecard reduces managers' emphasis on short-run financial performance such as quarterly earnings because non-financial indicators such as product quality and customer satisfaction measure changes that a company is making for the long run. The financial benefits of these long run changes may not appear immediately in the short run earnings, but strong improvement in non-financial measures is an indicator of economic value creation in the future. For example, an increase in customer satisfaction as measured by customer surveys and repeat purchases is a signal of higher sales and income in the future. By balancing the mix of financial and non-financial measures, the balanced scorecard broadens the management's attention to short-run and long-run performance. As a management tool, it helps companies to assess overall performance, improve operational processes, and enable management to develop better plans for improvements. So, what are the reasons for the development of balanced scorecard? The need for developing a balanced scorecard arises because traditional cost systems have failed to remain useful in the changing environment. This is evident from organizations often fail to link performance measurement to their strategic initiatives. Extra emphasis is laid on accounting for external reporting rather than reports useful for internal decision making. Accounting often ignores advances in technology that change how manufacturing firms behave. The growing importance of service industries and increased global competition have intensified the need for alternative control and performance measures for organizations seeking to remain competitive. Hence, 4 concepts support balanced scorecard. They are: first, a balanced scorecard should focus on strategies appropriate for each business unit. Second, by assessing lag indicators, an organization can identify cause and effect relationships. This in turn suggests financial and non-financial performance measures that can be included on scorecards for both individuals and business units. Third, the inclusion of financial and non-financial measures in balanced scorecards encourages employees to pay attention to actions that improve the long-term well-being of a business unit. And fourth, communicating the specific details of a balanced scorecard to employees helps employees embrace the performance measures because they will better understand how they can contribute to the organization's success. Friends, let us now discuss the 4 perspectives of the balanced scorecard. The balanced scorecard allows managers to look at business from 4 different perspectives by seeking to provide answers to 4 basic questions. How do customers see us? The customer perspective. What must we excel at? This refers to internal business perspective. Can we continue to improve and create value? That is learning and growth perspective. How do we look to shareholders? This refers to the financial perspective. Therefore, the measures derived under the balanced scorecard view organizational performance from 4 perspectives. First, external financial measures for stakeholders such as return on capital employed. Second, customer measures such as retention and satisfaction. Third, internal business process perspective measures such as cycle time. Fourth, measures for learning and growth such as the number of new patents and the development of employee skills. Let us examine these 4 perspectives in detail. The first is financial perspective. This balanced scorecard perspective focuses on financial measures of an organization's success and continues to be critical for both internal and external stakeholders. While considered traditional, financial performance measures are still used to determine whether an organization's strategy and objectives are affecting the bottom line financial performance. Examples of financial measures include various measures of profitability such as operating income, return on capital employed, economic value added, revenue growth, cost reduction, asset utilization, etc. These financial measures will provide feedback on whether improved operational performance is being translated into improved financial performance. The second is customer perspective. This balanced scorecard perspective identifies objectives and measures for the targeted customer segments and the value proposition for customers in these segments. Managers identify the customers and the market segment in which the business unit will compete. This perspective typically includes several core or genetic measures that relate to customer loyalty and the result of the strategy in the targeted segment. It captures the ability of the organization to provide quality goods and services, effectiveness of their delivery, and overall customer service and satisfaction. Needs and desires of customers have to be attended properly because customers pay for the organization's cost and provide for its profits. Examples of customer outcome measures include customer profitability, customer retention, customer satisfaction, and market share. The third is internal business process perspective. This balanced scorecard perspective identifies the critical processes which the organization must excel at to achieve its customer and financial objectives. It focuses on internal business processes that lead to financial success and satisfied customers. The principal internal business processes include innovation processes for exploring the needs of the customers, operation processes for providing efficient, consistent and timely delivery of goods or services, and post-service sales processes. These key processes are monitored to ensure that they increase value to customers, improve customer satisfaction, and lower costs for improved financial performance. Thereby, measures are developed to assess and improve existing processes as well as to develop new processes. The fourth perspective is a learning and growth perspective. This balanced scorecard perspective identifies the objectives for employee capabilities, information systems, and organizational climate that will create long-term growth and improvement. This perspective addresses three sources of organizational learning and growth, namely people, systems, and organizational procedures. Measures for people include employee satisfaction and retention, training, and skill development. Systems metrics determine whether information systems are producing accurate, reliable, and consistent information that informs managers about their customers and business processes. Organizational procedures can be evaluated by determining whether the organization has specific organization metrics of success with appropriate reward systems. Let us now discuss the features of a well-designed balanced scorecard. It tells the story of a company strategy, articulating a sequence of cause and effect relationships, links among the various perspectives that describe how strategy will be implemented. Each measure in the scorecard is a part of a cause and effect chain from strategy formulation to financial outcomes. It helps to communicate the strategy to all members of the organization by translating the strategy into a coherent and linked set of understandable and measurable operational targets. Guided by the scorecard, managers and employees take actions and make decisions to achieve the company strategy. It properly links financial and non-financial performance measures. It places a strong emphasis on financial objectives and measures. Non-financial measures serve as indicators of future financial performance. It limits the number of measures, identifying only the most critical ones. The purpose is to focus managers' attention on measures that most affect the implementation of strategy. It highlights less than optimal trade-offs that managers may make when they fail to consider operational and financial measures together. It would signal that the short-run financial performance might have been achieved by taking actions that hurt future financial performance. Friends, let us now understand the steps in the process of developing and implementing the balanced scorecard. First, make commitment at all levels, especially at the top level. Strong leadership is paramount in creating a positive organizational climate for nurturing performance improvements. Senior management should realistically foster cross-functional, mission-oriented performance improvements from senior operating or functional managers. They should have frequent formal and informal meetings with managers and employees to show support for improvement efforts and implementation initiatives, and should frequently review the progress and results of the efforts. Second, develop organizational goals. In order to provide focus and direction to the organization, goals need to be specified and publicized. Vision statements and strategic or tactical plans should be formulated and must include measurable objectives along with realistic timetables for their achievement. Third, offer training in improvement techniques. Training should be provided to appropriate personnel to help them properly make process improvements. The scope of training should include the operation of integrated project improvement teams, the role employees play in exercising sound business judgment, and the specific techniques for making process improvements. Comprehensive training should be provided to expand employees' technical capabilities for undertaking meaningful improvement efforts. 4. Establish a reward and recognition system. The organization should foster any reward and recognition system to performance improvement as measured by the balanced scorecard. Thus, employee incentives will tend to reinforce the organizational objectives being measured by the balanced scorecard. In addition to individual rewards, group reward and recognition systems are needed to encourage integrated cross-functional teams of employees, customers and managers to undertake performance improvement. Fifth step, break down organizational barriers. In order to overcome unfounded fears about the perceived adverse effects of performance, measurement and improvement, senior management should speak to key organizational personnel, managers and employees about the purpose of undertaking customer surveys, performance measurement and process improvement. They should explain that the performance measurement data are to be used to promote self-assessment, self-improvement and linkage to overall mission and goals, and not to initiate punitive actions against individuals or teams. The fifth step is to coordinate headquarters and branch responsibilities. Implementation of balanced scorecard should be a collaborative effort between the organization's corporate head office and its branch offices. The offices should jointly decide on their respective roles and responsibilities relative to the balanced scorecard. The head office may be in a position to provide leadership, oversight and a well-defined methodology. Other roles and responsibilities may be assigned based on the appropriateness of the circumstances. The next step is implement the performance measurement and improvement system. The balanced scorecard system should be implemented after some key steps have been followed. Demonstrate a clear need for improvement. Make realistic initial attempts at improvement. Demonstrate a clear need for improvement. Make realistic initial attempts at implementation. Integrate scorecard into the organization. Change the corporate culture. Institutionalize the process. The final step is performance measurement. Performance measurement should be done using the performance measurement information to effect positive changes in the organizational culture, system and processes. This includes helping to set agreed upon performance goals, allocating and prioritizing resources, informing managers to either confirm or change current policy or program directions to meet those goals, and sharing results of performance in pursuing those goals. Friends, let us now understand the advantages of the balanced scorecard. The balanced scorecard brings together and integrates in a single management report many of the seemingly disparate elements of a company's competitive agenda, namely becoming customer oriented, shortening response time, improving quality, emphasizing teamwork, etc. Balanced scorecard guards against sub-optimization. It forces senior management to consider all important operational measures together and to ensure that improvement in one area has not been achieved at the expense of another. Balanced scorecard successfully communicates corporate strategy to the functional heads and organization subunits and forces them to develop their own goals to achieve the corporate mission and goals and to make policies consistent to the corporate strategy. Balanced scorecard breaks down strategic measures towards lower levels so that unit managers, operators and employees can see what is required at their level to achieve excellent overall performance. It helps in focusing the whole organization on the few key things needed to create a breakthrough performance. It avoids management reliance on short-term financial measures. It helps in conduct of periodic performance reviews, which helps to improve strategy. It can assist stakeholders in evaluating the firm if measures are communicated externally. So, what are the limitations of the balanced scorecard? There is no clear relationship between balanced scorecard and shareholder value. It involves substantial shifts in corporate culture. It does not lead to a single aggregate summary of control. The measures may give conflicting signals and confuse the management. It is difficult to fix standards for key performance indicators. It is often difficult to measure the qualitative aspects of a manager's initiatives. Friends, let us now summarize what we learnt in this session. Organizations use multiple ways of performance measurement in order to encourage appropriate and desired behavior among employees. Instead of using only quantitative financial figures for performance measurement, quantitative non-financial measures and qualitative variables are being used for divisional performance evaluation. The balanced scorecard is a performance management and strategy development methodology that balances the use of financial and non-financial performance measures to evaluate short-run and long-run performance in a single report. As a management tool, it attempts to overcome the limitations of a traditional system and helps to assess overall performance, improve operational processes, and enable management to develop better plans for improvements. It allows managers to look at business from 4 different perspectives, namely financial, customer, internal business process, and learning and growth. We also understood the features of a well-designed balanced scorecard and how the process of balanced scorecard should be developed and implemented. We also discussed the advantages and limitations of the balanced scorecard. Friends, hope you enjoyed the session and have understood the concepts of non-financial measures of performance and balanced scorecard well. Thank you.